All righty. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to season number 3 of Doug's Dugout and episode 6. Doug, you've been on vacation too long.
I guess I've been around, but you've been too busy for me.
I'm sorry, Doug. I'm sorry. But we've got a guest with us, don't we?
Yeah, that's Scully.
Look at that. First time on the show.
That's my old buddy Scully. He's the best friend I got.
Oh my gosh. And there's something else on the screen. You want to talk to us about what's under your video there?
Yeah, that's our e-bike channel. We have Dave and I. We have a e-bike channel called E-Bike Trek. We've got God, I don't know. We've got 48 subscribers now, 48, 49 subscribers.
Hmm.
And we've got I think 58 videos, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I've
we've
seen
got a
most
lot of
of them.
videos.
I've seen
Yeah.
most of them. And by the way,
Yep.
everybody, they bike using Aviton e-bikes and they go all over the place.
Aventon.
Aventon. Yeah,
Yeah,
Aventon.
Aventon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just posted one uh, this morning or late last night called Doug Mic'd Up.
Oh,
And
I saw
usually
something
she
like
does
that.
all the, yeah, she usually does all the talking and, you know, how that goes. And, but then she mic'd me up and then, and she had the camera on her and we tried something. We had the camera on her and then I had the mic on me and then she just rode along and it worked pretty good.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'll definitely have to noon to watch that video. I've watched them all, but this one I haven't watched yet. So,
And then, we went out, there's a new construction site here north of Rancho called Madera.
yeah.
It's a huge place. We did that. That's on the frontage road there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
that's the
yeah,
going to be the high-end neighborhood.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they've got that so you can ride bikes through there now. We did it the other day, and actually they were dove hunting out there too. And
Wow.
then there's South Padre, and then of course so there's a couple of quite a few videos from Minnesota
Yeah.
and some
And
other
I think
stuff.
there
A lot
isn't
of
there
stuff
some
in
from San Antonio? Did you guys do any?
yeah,
Yeah.
San Antonio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And we're going to do one on SpaceX pretty soon. We were just waiting for the launch to get over with because they probably had Highway 4. Well, I know they had Highway 4 closed because I get a text message when they do.
Right.
And now it's open, and we're going to probably drive out there and unload the bikes and kind of drive around there because there's a lot of people don't know that SpaceX is down here in Brownsville.
Yeah. Yeah. They have no
Yeah,
idea, where it's at. So,
yeah, they have no idea.
yeah.
And so we're all over the place. We've done San Antonio, we did Minnesota, we've done, you know, Rancho, the Battlefield Trail, the West Rail Trail. Just yeah, plan on doing more.
Yeah. Well, definitely a lot has happened since we last met. Obviously, we are in the postseason of the MLB. And as you mentioned prior to coming on, we are down to 4 teams. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And let me ask you, first of all, did the Cardinals make it?
No, we didn't. We did. We did finish second this year in
Yeah.
the division.
Yeah.
By the skin of our teeth. And of course, so there's been a lot of talk with the Cardinals. This is like the third or fourth year in a row we haven't made the playoffs,
Yeah.
and all that. We finished like I don't know 5 games over 500. We won 83 games,
Yeah.
and and then the Cardinals have made some changes already. What they did is that their general manager or vice president of the organization, a guy named John Mozeliak, has been there for about 15 years. He's This is his last year. He's got a transition plan. They hired a kid from Boston that rebuilt their farm system His name is Heim, and I forget his last name, Heim something.
Yeah.
And and his task is to go in and rebuild the cardinal form system.
Oh
Okay,
wow.
and so I think the Cardinals are going to change their philosophy. Is that uh, they dabble in free agency a little bit, maybe one free agent a year. I think they're going to concentrate on the farm system.
Uh-huh.
And it's it's just it's they're building a new facility down in St. Petersburg. I think they're building down in Jupiter, Florida. At
Okay.
least they was. I don't know about now with all the hurricane and everything, but and that's for the minor league team and a new minor league facility down there, training facility, and I think it has a lot to do with the bucks because with the dollars because, I don't know if most people don't follow this, but Valley Sports Network has all these um, major league sports like hockey, baseball, things like that, right? And
Right.
basketball. Okay, they filed bankruptcy a couple years ago. Okay, and the Cardinals are with that network, and then recently there's been last year there was a couple teams, San Diego and Arizona, and I think Colorado. They said we don't want anything to do with Valley anymore, so we're just going to use the MLB app to show the games on.
Hmm.
Okay, well now Milwaukee and I think Kansas City and a couple other teams are are going to do the same thing. So the Cardinals really don't have a television contract right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a local television with a cable network
Wow.
because Valley was in the St. Louis area. It was a Valley Sports Network,
Right.
and so I don't know. They don't know what they're going to do. Listen, I'm not telling anybody. I suspect they're going to probably do the thing with San Diego and Arizona did, but who knows what they're going to do? I don't know. But and then also too, things are not well in the MLB because, Oakland, the A's, they played their last game in Oakland in September,
Uh-huh.
and they're moving to Sacramento,
Oh, they are.
and yeah, and so they were supposed to go to Vegas, but evidently the city wants them but the public doesn't,
Why is
and
that?
so they're having a well because their taxes
Ah.
because they're still paying they're still paying for they will be paying for the next 30 or 40 years on that monstrosity they built for the Raiders.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, of course. Yes.
yeah, and so now they the people of Las Vegas now they want them to found a new stadium, so they can play baseball because you're not going to play baseball in the summertime in Vegas. Okay,
Right.
it's as hot as it is. And so, but then Major League Baseball told, the Oakland Coliseum, that thing was falling down, and they told the Oakland A's, 2 years ago, you got to move out of there. We don't care where you move, you got to move.
Yeah.
So they moved to Sacramento to a minor league park that only holds about 10,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we don't know. Nobody knows where the A's are going to end up at. They may end up, and it doesn't look like Sacramento's going to build a new stadium either. And
Now,
that's 3 or 4 years
the
down the
question
road.
is, will they even move out of state?
Yeah, they will. They'll either the Salt Lake City seems to be the place they may be going
Mm.
because
Wow.
the city, yeah, they've already floated a bond issue, I think, to pay for a new stadium in Salt Lake City or
Wow.
near Salt Lake City.
Wow.
And so Salt Lake City, and then it's been rumors, maybe even San Antonio, but I kind of doubt San Antonio because San Antonio is building a brand new minor league stadium
Right.
now,
Oh, they
and
are.
yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, they needed one. Um, we went there earlier this year. It's it's bad
Wow.
compared to Waterburger Field and Corpus Christi. They
Wow.
play in the same league, but the A's may be going. They either going to go Salt Lake City or they might end up somewhere else. Nobody seems to know where they're going to end up at.
Well, too bad we're not in a large media market here. We could convince Elon dish out, a couple of million here and there. He could build something right here.
Yeah, I mean, he could, with all his cyber trucks, he's got parked down there at his dealership down there. Have you seen that?
Oh God, there's more cyber trucks down there than anything else.
He's got more cyber trucks than Charlie Clark's got cars.
I have no idea who's buying all those cyber trucks, but I kid you not, I see a cyber truck on the road down here everywhere I turn.
Well, my kidney doctor that lives out here at Rancho,
Yeah.
okay, he bought one.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and we were talking. I just went there about a month ago, and we got talking, and he's a talkable doctor, okay, and we got talking and stuff, and because he, every night we go right by his house.
Right.
He lives, yeah, and there's actually two cyber trucks out there. There's
They
one on
actually
Santa Ana.
they
And
actually allow you in the rich section of Rancho.
oh yeah, oh yeah, we go by. If you go out, you look at those videos and stuff. We go
Yeah.
by Pablo Escobar's building a big house out there on the end of Santa Ana. I mean that house is so big, Danny. Um, it's got the garage doors are mirrored.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
mirrored black garage doors. Yeah, I mean it's huge. I mean it. I mean it looks like something Tony Montana would have in Scarface.
Yeah.
And let me introduce you to my little buddy. Okay, and I mean that place is. I mean that's huge. But they got all these big rich houses. That's where we go. All these rich houses out here. We
Yeah.
ride all over. Anyway, he's got his cyber truck, and so he was talking to us about his cyber truck he's got. I don't know, his insurance is $500 a month and
Oh my
all
gosh.
kinds of crazy stuff.
Wow. Well,
And
he is paying
he's a
for 100.
character.
He is paying for a $100,000 vehicle. So.
Oh,
Oh.
I think it cost him more than that.
Oh gosh.
Okay. I think it cost him, I think he said 122 or something like that.
Now, did he mat it, or does he have it in the traditional stainless steel look? You
No,
know,
it's a traditional stainless steel look.
okay, yeah, because a lot of them are now matting them because of the rust, right? Because especially down here with the rust.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, they rust. They rust with the humidity and the salt air.
I just thought they
So
were I thought they were like a DeLorean,
no,
DeLoreans never rust.
no, those have been known to rust, and that's why they're matting them now in different colors because Elon's got this Henry Ford complex, where they only believed in one color. Remember old
Yeah,
Henry Ford only wanted to sell black
and
cars.
yeah, you can have any color you want as long as it's black.
Right. And Elon's got the
Yeah.
same mentality. You can have any Cybertruck you want as long as it's stainless steel looking. So,
But I get a bang out of this doctor because I went in there and I told him, I said, hey, listen, this medication I'm on, I can't ride my bike during the day when it's hot. I used to be able to do that
yeah.
because I overheat.
Yeah.
And you know what he told me?
Uh,
He said, he's like, I think he's from Nigerian or somewhere. And he says, you are an old white man. You need to stay inside.
wow.
I thought that was really funny. I
Yeah. Yeah. Brave of him
you are,
too.
yeah.
All right. Well, talk to us about the postseason. Give us a little bit of highlights of the first round and what happened there. It looks like,
Well,
you know, there's
I,
quite a few teams there.
my teams that I
Yeah.
wanted San Diego and Detroit.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted those teams is Detroit, they've always been in the bottom of the barrel, bottom of the basket for, a decade.
Yeah.
And they haven't been in any playoffs. God, I think the Cardinals played them in 2005 or six or something like that. That's how long it's been.
Right.
And and they were like in right above Toronto in last place in July.
Wow.
Okay, and they got hot. They went to the trading deadline, and they traded away all their good ball players.
Wow.
Any ball like Jack Flaherty and all those guys, they trade them all away to reduce payroll. You know, these teams, constantly rebuilding. Okay, and in July, mid-July, they got hot, and
Wow.
they stayed hot through July, August, and September. And they went from nowhere to somewhere, and I think they finished second in the division.
And this is
So
with
I was,
this was with newbies, right? With newbies.
yeah, all newbies. I don't know
Wow.
any. There's a Carpenter. The only guy I know on the team. There's a guy named Carpenter,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't really know him that well. And not the Carpenter I'm familiar with, but a young kid. And they traded everybody away. And
Wow.
everybody thought, they're going to do nothing. So they were just, another rebuild. And then, they got hot and they got in the playoffs.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it looks like they played
Yeah.
Houston, right? They played Houston at that point.
Yeah. And they beat Houston,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. And okay. So I was hoping Detroit would go all the way
Yeah.
to get in the World Series. And then on the National League, San Diego, I'm kind of partial to San Diego because their manager is a guy named Mike Shelt, and he's an ex manager for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Uh-huh.
And Shelt was a manager that we won 17 games in a row a couple years ago. And then we went to the playoffs and everything. And he was, a good guy. I mean, good manager, really good manager. And, he got this is how strange baseball is. He got a call from this Mozeliak guy one day, and Schultz thought that he was going to, they were renegotiating his contract because he had a good year, okay? And everything, his contract was up. No, no, not the case. They said, you're fired.
Oh my
We're firing you
gosh.
because of, yeah, we're firing you because of philosophical differences.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So they fired him. It was a complete shock to everybody. And so he bounced around. He went out to San Diego, was a bench coach and some stuff. And then last year he got a chance to be the manager. And he's whipped San Diego into pretty good shape. And also, too, there's a lot of ex Cardinals on that team, too.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. 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 The Cardinals are the best team to supply ball players to everybody.
Yeah.
And so some of the ball players that didn't make it, that the Cardinals traded away too soon, well, they hooked up with San Diego. And the same thing with Kansas City. Kansas City, I was kind of hoping Kansas City would get in it too because, they're a small market team and you don't hear much about them.
Yeah.
Well, that team was loaded with ex Cardinals too.
Wow.
Paul DeYoung and some other ball players. And so, you know, so those are the teams I wanted to get in. And then finally, here we are. The media loves us now
Right.
because we got the Dodgers and the Yankee. You got the Dodgers and the Mets,
Right.
and
Which
then
Bill
and
O'Reilly
then
is probably ecstatic, right?
oh yeah, because he likes both teams.
Oh, he does.
Yes, yeah, he likes
Okay.
both teams, and so he even said on his podcast, that he does every night that, he, he always shows when he goes to a game because he's always surrounded with dignitaries. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Because, and him and the Steinbrenner family are good friends.
Ah,
And like the other day that he was there watching the Yankees play, and he was sitting next to Chaz Palminteri, the
uh-huh.
actor.
Okay.
If you remember him, he's still around. He's been in a lot of movies and stuff. Bronx Tale and a couple other things, quite a few things. He kind of plays a gangster.
Yeah.
And then the Cardinal Dolan, okay?
Hmm.
And, he's sitting right next to him, and he always shows a picture of him, hey, look at me, I'm a big shot, you
Yeah.
know? But he likes the Yankees, but he really, I think he's really fond of the Mets more than he are the Yankees.
Right. Right.
Okay, so he's at the game tonight. I'm sure he's at the game tonight with the Mets. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what do
And
you
the
think?
Dodgers,
Yeah.
everybody kind of expected the Dodgers to make it because they went out and they spent $1 billion on payroll. They went out and got Yamamoto, they went out and got Otani, and a couple other ball players. And they're surrounded by superstars,
Yeah.
is the Dodgers.
And
And it's
it looks like they're tied, right? The Mets and the Dodgers have won each one game at this point.
yeah, they're in New York. They're playing tonight. I think the Dodgers are winning right now. I have to
Wow.
look. Yeah.
And then of course on
But
the other side, you've got isn't it Cleveland? Yeah, Cleveland and the New York
Cleveland.
Yankees.
Yeah. Uh, Cleveland. Actually, Cleveland's considered a small market team too.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, that's one of the teams that Valley Sports Network, I believe, they filed bankruptcy with,
Yeah.
and so they're looking for a TV contract too.
Yeah.
And they got a good young team. Stephen Kwan and a bunch of other guys. I was kind of hoping Baltimore would get in it, but they didn't make it.
Right.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
But Cleveland. But the media, of course, they want the Yankees and the Mets to get in it
Right.
because it's New York, and Subway World Series.
Yeah. So what does your crystal ball say? Who do you think it will be?
Well, I don't think on the National League, which I really watch a lot, is I don't think, believe it or not, I don't think the Dodgers have enough pitching.
Okay.
Like, okay, because they've had a lot of injuries. They got all this high priced talent, and they've had a lot of injuries this year. And even this Yamamoto guy they hired from Japan,
Uh-huh.
okay, he was supposed to start tonight. They didn't start. So what they did is the manager, Davey Roberts, he's using a bullpen. It's what they call a bullpen team,
Right.
a bullpen game. So what he does, he starts somebody from the bullpen. They pitch like 2 innings, and then they take him out, and then they bring another pitcher in from the bullpen. So
Right.
they don't have a starter. So their pitching is so thin, they don't have a starter.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also too, their first baseman, Freddie Freeman, he's hurting. I mean, he's doing okay, but he's not 100%. He hurt his ankle really bad, and he's playing, but he's not playing 100%. And then they've had some other injuries there too.
Right.
Now Otani's Otani. Okay, he's gonna do what he does. Okay,
Right.
but so, but I don't think the Dodgers have enough pitching. I think that, and this is not new for them because they went through the last, the month of September with hardly any pitching at all,
Wow.
and they kept on using the bullpen. So that bullpen they've got is pretty much wore out. Okay,
Wow.
but I mean, it is a playoff, so the players have to reach down and get some more. And so, but and the Mets are rolling. They've got the momentum on their side. Momentum's. Everybody in the beginning of the season, everybody thought, oh, another year with the Mets. They're not going to do very well
Yeah.
and all that. But then, and then finally in July they caught on fire. The polar bear, Pete Alonso, he started hitting. And their shortstop Lindor has had a most valuable player a year. I mean, he'd probably be the most valuable player this year if it wasn't for Otani
Right.
and for the Dodgers. Okay,
Now, so do you
and
think
then
it'll be a Subway series then?
I think it's going to be probably the Mets for sure.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Cleveland beats the Yankees,
Right.
but I think the Yankees just got too much. I think they've got, um, this Juan Soto,
Yeah.
and of course, so they've got, you know, King Kong,
Yeah.
their center fielder,
Right.
he's having a monster year,
Right.
and so is Soto, and they've got some other ball players too, and they're pitching. Jeff Weaver, yeah, not Jeff Weaver, Luke Weaver. Okay, Jeff Weaver is his brother. He pitched for the Cardinals. Luke Weaver, there's another Cardinal there, came up through the Cardinal system. Okay. He came from nowhere and he's been a relief pitcher and he's pitched very, very well.
Yeah.
So, and they got another Cardinal, ex-Cardinal, Harrison Bader, one of my favorite ball players. He's out in center field and they're starting to hit. I think they're starting to blend together. And so I think it's probably going to be, you know, prob probably it probably be Yankees and the Mets. The
Right.
Dodgers have got a chance, but
Now,
I don't think the Dodgers are
have
gonna.
those two teams ever met in a World Series, or will this be the first?
I'm trying to think. I thought they met one time in the '90s. I thought.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they did
Yeah. Wow.
because the Yankees haven't won anything in a long time,
So, if you had to take
division
a
wise.
guess, who is the city of New York rooting for in a situation like that?
Well, I guess it all depends which part of New York. Um, the Bronx, that would have to be the Yankees.
Right.
Okay, and Queens would have to be New York. The
Now,
Mets
where would
would
they
have to be the
play? Where
Mets.
would they play?
They would
Who's
alternate.
okay?
The
Okay.
Mets have their field, and the Yankees have their field.
I was wondering about that. Would they just decide to play all in one field, because
Yeah.
they're in the same city?
Now, there once upon a time in 1944, going back a ways, St. Louis had a streetcar World Series.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and that's when the St. Louis Browns and the St. Louis Cardinals they played each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the series went 6 games. That was 1944. It was during the war years.
Yeah.
A lot of the ball players were all fighting the war, right?
Yeah.
And somehow the Browns were perennial losers, right?
Yeah.
But somehow that year, the Browns got into the World Series. That's when there was only 8 teams per league.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they called it the Streetcar World Series.
Oh, wow. That's kind
So
of cool.
yeah. So it what they would do, who had home field advantage, they played in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
Okay, they was to switch. They'd play 2 games American League, 2 games National League.
Yeah.
The that and that was never the only time the Browns ever got in the World Series, and like they were in St. Louis for like 70 years,
Yeah.
60 years. Okay, in '53, they filed bankruptcy and they moved to Baltimore.
Yeah.
So now they're the Baltimore Orioles, but back
Okay.
then, the Browns. See, the
Well, you
Browns
know
was the one
what?
that gave you
Yeah.
the midget. The Browns are the ones that gave you the midget.
Oh, really?
Yeah, did you hear that story?
No.
Okay. The Browns in '53 didn't have anything. They didn't have much team at all. So there's this guy named Bell Beck. He was the owner.
Yeah.
Okay. And he goes in baseball history. He's had a couple teams as owner, but he's always been a showman. As a matter of fact, he lost a leg in World War II, and he was such a heavy smoker that he had him cut a hole in his leg so he could put his ashtray in there so he could just
Oh my
so he was sitting
gosh.
down, he could put the cigarette in the ashtray on his leg, right? His wooden leg. So anyway, he was trying to get people into the ballpark, okay?
Yeah.
So what he did is he went out and he found himself a midget named Eddie Goodell, okay? And what he did is that he set it up, and so he gave him a contract late Friday night when the league was closed because he knew he couldn't get away with it.
Right.
But he mailed the contract in the Friday night late after they were on the league is in the East Coast, so he mailed the he signed Eddie to a contract, gave him a uniform. I think his number was 2/3 or something like that, 2/3, and and he told Eddie, get this, he told Eddie, you stand up at the plate, and if you and he says, you see that center field out there? And Eddie goes, yeah. I've got a guy out there with a rifle, and if you swing at a ball, he's going to shoot you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Eddie Goodell, okay, they came up there. Eddie Goodell and the umpires went, he came up to bat.
Yeah.
and Eddie Goodell came up there, the midget came up there, and everybody went crazy. The umpires, you can't do this and all that. And the manager pulled out a contract, and sure enough, he had a contract. He was a major league ball player,
Oh,
and so
wow.
he got up there, and the pitcher on the other team, he didn't know what to say. He was just laughing so much you could. So he threw four balls, and of course, all four of them was balls,
Right.
over his head. So Eddie Goodell walked, and then after he walked, they took him off the field. And then there was a big scandal after there was a big scandal after that. You can't do that. You can't make mockery of the game and all that. And so that's a Eddie
That
Goodell
was
story.
that was definitely before the American Disabilities Act. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, can you imagine? Can you expect Tyrion from the Game of Thrones to get up there and take a bat of the ball, right?
Right. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
yeah, that was so funny. But anyway,
All righty.
where were we at? We are talking about baseball, but
Right.
no, I think the Dodgers got a chance of getting in, but um, their pitching's got to get much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Otani. They say Otani can pitch,
Yeah.
so maybe they might throw him. Dave Roberts might throw him out there and let him pitch, but I mean, he's had such a monster year. Like
Right.
he had 50 some homers and stole 58 bases and
Oh,
all that kind of crazy stuff. And,
yeah.
Aaron Judd, for the Mets, I mean, for the Yankees, he had 58 homers and
Yeah.
hit like 320 and played a good center field too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I said, the media is wanting, a New York World Series.
I bet they do. I bet they do.
Yeah. They love that.
All righty,
But the
Doug.
Phillies,
Yeah.
the Phillies was a surprise team. The Phillies got wiped out pretty easy.
Yeah. 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 They didn't even make it. They didn't even make it.
Well, they didn't make it. They made it the first. Well, they didn't make it
Well,
after the first round.
right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
All righty, Doug. Well, I guess what we'll do is we'll be back once things get finalized a little bit more, and then we'll start coverage of the World Series here as soon as things get finalized.
yeah. I think by this weekend we should pretty much know who the teams are going to be.
Okay, great. Well, we'll be
The
back
trouble
then.
is the trouble now is that the Mets are in New York and the Dodgers are on the West Coast, and so every time they play a game or two, they got to travel back and forth cross
Right.
country.
Right. Yeah.
Cleveland and New York's not so bad, but so but
Yeah. Well,
they'll want to go 7 games. So
yeah. Well, we'll definitely plan for another show here this coming week, and obviously, everybody, Doug, once again, for those that want to check out your YouTube channel, you want to mention the YouTube channel name again for everybody.
yeah, it's e-bike trek, 2 words, e-bike trek, and you'll see us on there. There's shorts on there too.
Right.
We've done quite a few shorts. They seem to get the most views anyway
Yeah.
because they're less than a couple minutes long,
Yeah.
and we post now since the weather's getting cooler and we can ride more. We'll be posting a lot. You'll be posting quite a bit.
Well, I'll definitely be looking forward to that SpaceX video. That's for sure. So,
I think a lot of people will do.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And definitely, if you want me to push that video on the regular channel, just let me know as well. So.
Okay, I will. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Sunday we thought about going out to the South Padre. But I don't know, how was the crowd out there? Was it huge?
There was a little bit of a crowd. I think everybody started getting into Isla Blanca around 2 a.m. Yeah.
Oh, that early, huh?
Yeah. But a lot of the YouTubers that typically would cover that event weren't able to make it. Elon pulled the fast one on them and didn't let them know till the last minute. So a lot of your big names didn't make it down here this time for the launch. And to be
Oh,
honest
okay.
with you, the other problem I think that's happening with a lot of the YouTubers is that hauling all that equipment is tough to do. So a lot of them chose to just basically stream the SpaceX live feeds because they're actually the best feeds. They're IMAX quality.
Mm.
So they're better off doing that instead of hauling all that equipment themselves, you know. So that was kind of interesting. It was the first time we didn't have the big name YouTubers for the launch. So,
So,
but
who is the biggest name YouTubers that you can think of?
well, obviously, you know, you've got the stationary cameras out there by Lab Padre and NSF, but one of the big
Yeah.
ones out there is Everyday Astronaut. He's the kid. Well, he's not a kid. He's about my age. But anyway, he was selected by the Japanese billionaire to be part of the Deer Moon project, where they were going to send up these artists on one or two of the first starships to orbit the moon.
Oh, okay.
But it turns out that I guess him and Elon had a falling out or over the timing and the schedule as far as that launch, and so that has been completely canceled at this point. So he
Well, when they
didn't.
said 7:30, they meant 7:30, man. They didn't mess around one bit, did they?
Right. Yeah. So I don't even know if Elon was down here, to be honest with you. You know, he's pretty much given the reins over to Shotwell, which is the lady, and then Lutters, which is the other lady that came from NASA. So they pretty much run the show down here at this point.
Shotwell does a very good job. I
Yeah.
don't know much about the other lady, but Shotwell,
Yeah.
they were talking. Even Leo Laporte was talking about her the other day on Twitter, and
Yeah.
he's, they're all liberals on that station, and and
Right.
uh, he said to Shotwell, SpaceX wouldn't be SpaceX without Shotwell.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Even after reading Elon's book, I mean, you can tell that Shotwell's been there since day one. I think what she was
Yeah,
employee number two or employee number three, I can't tell. But
yeah, she's very good.
yeah.
But
All
what do you
right.
call the what do you call the orbiter? Is that a dragon or what is that?
No, it's basically just the Starship. Uh,
Just a starship?
yeah, yeah. And then
Okay.
the first piece is the super heavy booster. So
Super heavy booster.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Doug. Well, I'm gonna let you go. We'll be back hopefully next week, and we'll
Yeah,
have a
I
clear picture.
on my last video when I'm doing the talking on Doug Mic'd Up, I talk about SpaceX deal a little bit.
Okay. Great. I
Yeah.
will take a look at it. Everybody, check out their channel, and we will be back next week. And once we've got a more finalized World Series schedule. Doug, thank
Okay.
you, and welcome back once again.
And Scully says,
Scully,
see you later.
that's right. Scully, thank you for joining us this year. We hope to have you back next year.
He doesn't say much. He's pretty quiet. He's
I
sort of
can
like
tell.
you ever see the movie called the Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger movie called they're playing Cleveland. It was a comedy baseball
Yeah,
um, movie.
yeah,
They made two or three of them.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy on the in the broadcasting booth with Bob Euchre, and Bob Euchre's doing all the talking, and this guy doesn't say a word. So that's Scully. Okay,
Well, definitely we enjoyed having
Major
Scully
League,
on the show.
Major League. That's the name of that's the name of the movie.
Yeah. All righty,
Yeah.
Doug. Well, you have a great evening, and we'll see you next week.
Okay,
Everybody,
Danny.
have a great night. Bye bye.
See you later, guys. Bye.